Hey, and a happy, I don't know, Thursday? Thursday, let's go Thursday. We'll go Thursday, December 15th. Welcome to the UnLinkedIn show, also broadcasting to YouTube and Twitch. Hey, everybody. Hello to everybody who's watching the recording while there's nobody here on the live. Also, a special shout out to the people who comment on a recorded live thinking they're going to get a live response. That's off to you. We're getting snowed in here, west of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Also, a side note here, if you're referring to Toronto, you don't say Toronto, Canada. It's like city, province, country, or city. It's like saying Nashville, USA, like Nashville, Tennessee, Just because we have provinces and territory, it doesn't mean we, don't reference them. But we're getting, some snow and some ice. Schools are closing up, canceling. You're just going to see the mug there. Infamous. I swear we do promo products just because we just love doing them. Because on one side is Jackass, and the other side is the UnPodcast. Like, if you're going to have your own mugs, make them worth it. So anyways, as happens apparently every year around here, we've got this weather change into cold and snow and ice. And realized, we hadn't hired anybody to come take care of the big snowfalls with kind of like the plows and stuff in the driveway, and especially when I travel in the winter, and I got a bunch of the winter ones in January, February. We signed up just in time. But here's and I posted about it yesterday, and hello to you, William, and thank you, and Merry Christmas and every other holiday that you might be celebrating in December. We have to do, we're covering Hanukkah first before we hit Christmas here. And I appreciate you. And Michael, exactly. So this is what happens with this. I go online, and we had a company last year, and they were fine. And fine is the F word of your business, right? I didn't have any really complaints, but it was not the greatest communication. It was a little more expensive than we thought, but it was fine. You either pay or you do it yourself. So what it did was, it left the door open for, your competition to come in. We talked about this years ago in a couple of the books about the experience gap, and the experience gap with your company is the gap between the worst and the best experience they have with your company, or if you're new, the expectation of the experience and the actual experience. And also it was kind of weird because, they didn't come back this year saying, hey, you want to sign up again? It's kind of easy money. Once you got the customer, like the hardest thing to do in business, for the most part, is to acquire a new customer. It's the most costly thing in business. The new customer acquisition is always hard to do. It's the hardest to do, which is also why it always blew our minds that you're not trying to keep your current ones in the right way. So didn't hear back from the old one. Wasn't going to use them again anyways, and went out there, searched Google, my area, found a couple, put in their quote form on the site. They all love the quote form. And just understand this, I hate the phone. I hate calling businesses. I just want to either email, use a form. I don't want to talk to people. It's nothing against people, it is, but it's just like, I got a phone, I got a smartphone, it's very smart, and so I'd rather do it through email. And it doesn't matter. A lot of these places still will just phone you, but it's okay, whatever. But I think that, like we've said again in many books and many talks, it's the people who have the customer, whoever's paying the money, is the one who gets to dictate the communication avenue. And hello, hi Heather, how are you? It's good to see you on here. What's up, Tim? We have the OGs in here. We have the newer group in here. We have everybody in here. Good to see y'all. So I sent a couple of quotes, and under 5 minutes, I get an email back from one of them. I check my email, and I don't get notifications on my phone. They're almost all turned off. The only notifications I do get are texts from Allison or the kids, and they all have their own specific tone and their specific vibration that comes through the phone. So I went to check the email, and I saw an email from a plowing company, and I thought, oh, it was an auto thing. You send the form in, hey, we got your information. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. No, it was a quote from the owner. He's like, hey, Scott, thanks for the inquiry. Here it is. Since you have this postal code, you're in our area. We only focus on a very specific area versus a larger one, which is one of the issues we had last year. We were like on the last on the list. And here's the price. And I'm like, price is perfect. He's like, great. I can show up at your house tomorrow if you want to sign the contract and stuff, or we can do it over email. And I'm like, email, please. Boom, sends the contract to sign, or VeriSign. I interact in the money, like send them through our bank online. And under 15 minutes from me sending that form in to that, it was 15 minutes. And we're a customer, and now we're on the road. Still haven't heard back from the other two companies. And one of the reasons I mentioned it yesterday on LinkedIn was our good friend Jay Bear is one of his main focus now is what he's talking about is fast and quick and how quickly, your speed of which you do things to a certain extent is a huge difference maker in business. So that's why I want to talk about it. Anyways, what's up, Brian? All my originals in here. It's all good to see y'all. Great to see you all. Anyway, so now let's talk about the. I never know if I should keep the music on. By the way, it is from Aiden Taylor Music, who is our oldest of 5 here, who is works at Dine Alone Records. Dean is just here for the music. Good to see you as always, Dean. I don't know if it's too distracting or not, but I like it. It gives me a good vibe for me, but who knows? Exactly when it turns off. So there it is. So favorite app, and I was trying to think of all the things I pay for that come through our monthly credit card statement of services and apps that we use, and trying to figure it out. It's like when I see something come through, and it's like when you see the receipt, you're just like either, yeah, it's fair, or I forgot to cancel it, or it's like, yeah, I'm happy to do it. And there's a couple out there. And one for me, maybe I did one when we see us on TikTok. I have an account on there. I just don't post much. It's like for me, it's like going out to a bar or somewhere else and looking around. I'm just like, oof, I'm kind of older than everybody that works here, so it's kind of weird. But it's also grown a lot to be, and I love watching TikTok. I'm on farmer TikTok. I'm on crafter TikTok, and I don't farm or craft, and it's amazing. I love it. I love anything behind the scenes. I love, and that's one of the best assets for a brand to use something like TikTok, but I don't post much on there. So we'll see. Kara says, I'm going to shoot a turn in more often. Well, thank you. You should. So I'm going to talk about favorite. So my favorite app right out for me, I look through this. It's like Canva. Yeah, makes sense. I'm a huge Canva fan. You see other ones come through. I love SetApp. SetApp is what I have here on the Mac. It's like a monthly fee to subscribe to. You just get a bunch of programs, but legally, not like the old school. Like you pay a monthly fee and you get all the movies in history. It's like this is a real. You get access to just like graphical things, video things, audio, whatever you need. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I'll show you what I got here. Let's see if I can open it up. You can take a peek. So SetApp is what I use. I don't need this. Get away. I want to show you guys it. Okay, let me see if I can show you. Let's go to the screen. There it is. All right, we're in SetApp. So this is SetApp. Pay monthly for it. It's not a lot either. I think it's about $15. And it's just like what I have on here. So I use these ones here. And it's anything from Clean My Mac, Gemini, which looks for duplicate files. Love Boom 3D. I just love what it does with my audio. A good zip program. Just kind of a lot of utility programs. And I really like just a lot of the stuff they come out with, stuff I never wouldn't even think about. And it's a really decent price. So, I'm happy to pay for it. But my favorite thing to pay for is, amazingly, is YouTube Premium. And it lasted my culling, as William put it here. What do we call? What do we get away from? Yeah, it's like in the old days too, like a magazine subscription or something. And YouTube Premium for me has been because of the situation. So a couple thing is like, for travel for me, one of the things I do is like when I was a kid, I would read encyclopedias. I would just sit in our basement and kind of just go through, and I just love this kind of random bite-sized knowledge of all these things and all these facts. And kind of YouTube is my encyclopedia today. And I love watching it. I spend my day going through down the rabbit hole of curiosity. And I save videos kind of as I go at home, especially the longer form videos, and I just download them to my iPad, which is what you can do with Premium. And I watch on the plane. So I watch a lot of kind of like the mini documentaries and stuff I want to watch, and I just bring them on the plane and watch them there. And also, I don't have to see ads, like ever, unless it's a live read or something like that. And make sure you click like and subscribe and hit the bell, and then this is brought to you by Squarespace, and this type of stuff. So I really was big, so really liked it. Anyway, have you tried Spike for email? It's just amazing seeing them as a chat, not a paid endorsement. Yeah, I don't know what Spike is. Never heard of it. But also not in the market for a different way of doing email for me. Sure, I'm sure it's interesting. I'm just good with what I've got. So yeah, and then ConvertKit is one of our other ones I love paying for, which is funny because ConvertKit is an email service provider, an ESP, and we haven't sent an email in years. And we switched to ConvertKit because it's all the tools and features, but really, what really got me to ConvertKit was Nathan Barry, the founder, and his posts on LinkedIn, and what he stood for, and the civic actions he stood for, and which means also what the company stood for, and how they treat their people. And I just felt like I got to know him through LinkedIn posts, and we pay 10 times the amount to use that we did because we were grandfathered in with AWeber from 15 years ago. So it's like it was $39 for 15,000 people on an email list, and we're just happy to pay it. They do profit share with their employees. It's very transparent about selling the company or not and how it all worked, and it really kind of grabbed me with that. And it's just one of those things where and it's interesting in the business sense, but it's not, because I'm sure we did this before. The fact that we choose our software providers, our tools that we use as business people and creators and entrepreneurs, and especially in crowded fields like ESPs, like email service providers, when one takes a step forward to say this is what we stand for, that separates you from so many in the market. Ryan says, I tend to curate everything from videos to blog posts using Feedbin. Happy to pay for this service. Yeah, and that's exactly it. And Feedbin, I want to see what that is. Let me check out Feedbin. And then, man, I want to see what Spike is too. But Feedbin. Is that the RSS reader you're talking about? Because if that's what you're talking about, that is perfect. That's great. Yeah, and that's for us. It's like one of those things I always had, and I tried a few things with that, Ryan, which is like Flipboard and all those type of ones, because between books, before the world went upside down, I'd have a running list in my notes app on my phone, and kind of just anything I wanted, any kind of article or whatever that's going to be that we wanted to, especially, but also for the show. When we did the show, right, it was just like we would need for 20, 30 stories a month we'd kind of look at, and I would just use the notes app kind of thing, and the night before kind of just print them all out. And I think my ideal thing, if I could find something like what I had needed, and I'm sure I could figure it out with, I don't know, between using Zapier and a few other things, that I could take the articles that I flagged and then print them off, because we use them in the show, we have them in front of us, but also print them off with just the text and everything else, like a print-friendly kind of thing. But it's like these little processes I'd love to be able to do. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. just rambling. Also enjoyed it. Was it yesterday or the day before? We got to talk about presentation skills, which is very cool. Very cool. Michael says, I enjoy cycling. Will sign up for Zwift over the winter and early spring months. Keeps me active in what would otherwise be a pretty sedentary time of year. Well, now I have to know what Zwift is. Zwift. Yeah, the indoor cycling app. Woo! I'm gonna go over to this. Hang on, there it is. So is it like Peloton for actual cyclists? Is that what we're saying? Like real cyclists? Like I have a Peloton. It's right there. It's right. I can see it. What's up, Peloton? And there's a treadmill right there. Neither of which have been used recently. I should probably change that. Yeah, I dig it. That's cool. It's very cool. And also, I love my Peloton. When I use it, it's brilliant. Yeah, Dean says too obvious it's serious because I'm a Netflix guy for COVID. Yeah, that's you and everybody else for sure. It's like, and then you go to those services but it's also obviously dependent on what you're watching. I haven't watched something on Netflix in quite some time. It's almost like Netflix became ubiquitous with just streaming. So it's like when I'm watching something, I'm like, this is Netflix. It's not. Like I'm watching Disney Plus, and then watching Paramount Plus or something, and like I think we stream with it's YouTube Premium and then Netflix and Disney Plus, and then Paramount Plus. Crave is one here in Canada. TSN, which is for like Raptors games and stuff. Yeah, but YouTube. Like when I'm down here in the basement, it's mostly YouTube. Endless curiosity. Zwift is like Peloton, but you can use your own gear. There's racing leagues and stuff. Yeah, so like I said, yeah. So it's like Peloton for actual cyclists, not pretend ones. Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I dig it. I actually haven't used my Peloton since they updated to have like the gamification and all that stuff, but I'll give it a try. Mark says you have to watch the FIFA Uncovered documentary on Netflix. Wow. Actually, I think Allison just watched that. I think she just watched it. Yeah, nuts. Although I don't need a documentary to watch the corruption of FIFA. But yeah, I get your point. And Netflix does have great documentaries, for sure. Lisa, my BFF and I took a Learn to Podcast session at the Kitchener Public Library this week and recorded a mini episode. Congratulations. We may launch a monthly podcast in the new year. Any advice podcasting newbies? Oh, I got so much advice about podcasting for sure. First of all, good to see you, Lisa. Yeah, I have a bunch of thoughts on podcasting. A few things, though, when you're starting out. Do not, you will, but do not, but you will, look at the listener numbers. It is depressing and really hard to build momentum when you're first starting. Don't let that deter you. Do not let the lack of listeners deter you from doing something you feel is a good thing to do. Like if you're going to do one because for a few reasons that you two want to do one together because you something you think will be enjoyable or successful or help business, whatever that's going to be, and then go. Because what's going to kill you initially is going to be the lack of momentum. For the most part, unless you have a built-in already platform, right? Like us. When we started episode 1, I could send it to thousands or tens of thousands of people. And that still took time too. And I would use this throw this into your pocket with it as well, is you also don't want a lot of listeners when you start. You go back to like podcast episode on podcast 1 compared to on podcast episode 301. Huge difference. When you're starting out, it's the reps that are important. Recording the episode that's when you've won. You're done. Like that should be your success. Getting in the motion, because to me it should become. I have to check myself sometimes, because it's easy for me to say these things because of my personality and everything else, and my privilege about that. But that I can talk to a camera like this, no problem. I always have, but I've also gotten better at it since doing it a lot. Again, that's the reps. You want to get into the motion of doing it and being able to do it in a place where you're just like, I get it now. Because once you get, there's the butterflies and nervousness, I really think that just give yourself some time. Again, you'll know yourselves, but I always found that too much structure is too much. That's my personality. One of the things I love about podcasts, because there's different types too. Like there's storytelling type of ones, there's like sound design ones, there's, talking heads, like Allison and I, two of us. Like when I took a course as well. I took the podcasting A to Z from Podcast Answer Man from Cliff Ravenscraft when he used to do that. And I took it enough to know what I didn't want to do as well. And I was told in that course, have one host, have a guest every episode, and have a set amount of time. So we went with 2 hosts, no guests, and no set amount of time. Because that's how we kind of felt it out. Our first episode was 59 minutes long. But over time, it took to the point where they were about 25 minutes long. And then we ended up recording them in one day, months of episodes in one day. And I would suggest doing that potentially as well, depending on, I know you're close geographically together, so it might not be as an issue, but it's hard to get stuff together every week, like get together personally and doing it together. So we'd book a studio and do it once a month as well. And then at the end of the day, before you start it, answer the question, why do you want to start it? Because if you do it because you want to potentially help your business, okay, then who's your customers? And if they are local to, let's say, Kitchener, then are we going to do a show with the Kitchener slant to it? I always thought my customers are geographic, especially, then I need to do something geographically with it. Not always, it doesn't have to be like Kitchener today or anything like that, but it's always nice to have a hook to it, an angle, and then you could bring on people locally as well. But if you have any questions or other questions, please let me know. Also, we did a talk. I think I did a whole thing. It's on the YouTube for UnMarketing. We talked all about podcasting for one episode. I think it's there somewhere. Hope that helps. Emmanuel says, jump into podcast, add video, allows you to clip and share it more and give momentum. I agree, very much so. I don't agree necessarily when you're first starting, depending on your comfort level. Sitting in front of a microphone and talking is hard as hell for a lot of people. Sitting in front of a microphone and talking while being filmed is twice as hard, if not exponentially harder. So if you can, awesome, but it's focus. And if I'm going to focus and I'm just starting, like if I have the equipment and everything else, then yeah, I love, filming a podcast gives you so much potential content and clips and stuff you can do with it. So much. But remember, do not forget, this is for you, Lisa, and everybody else, but also it's the most important part about podcasting and the most important part about video is audio. If you don't have that right, nothing else matters. Especially in podcasting, that's all it is. It's audio. And I know there's video podcasts and stuff, but just podcasting is people put in their ears or on their stereo or on the commute and they listen. I can't listen to bad audio. It's not going to work. I don't know if you could listen to this if I changed up my audio input to something else. Like, it's just hard to stick around to. So I do agree with Manu about video, but not necessarily something you have to do from the get-go, depending on comfort level. This is a good vibe, just to loop. I dig it. Because I got other stuff too here, but like there's sad music. This is decent. I like this one. It's pretty better. This is good. It's also from Aiden. But I think there's a bad word in it. I don't want my mom to hear it, so we're not going to do that. Yeah. It's cool. I got all these sounds on here. It's pretty decent. I like it. All right, y'all. That's my hang for today. We're going to book these. Probably start scheduling some as well on some topics. We'll figure it out. Anywho, thank y'all for hanging out with me today. Good to see some familiar faces. And yes, go do that. Libraries. I'm telling you, people. Libraries are the lifeblood of community, and there's so much they offer. If you haven't been to yours since a class field trip or something like that, go. So much stuff there. And if you don't need to go or want to go, then support them. Just support your library. Happy Hanukkah to all that celebrate it. We are getting our preparations here ready. It's going to be amazing. Merry Christmas to those that celebrate that coming up down the road as well. But I'll be out back on here before that happens. But I will be hitting some latkes real hard this Sunday. Real hard. Amazing. Is there any payoff I don't get by marrying Allison? Any. Just amazing. All right, y'all. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in a bit.